I'm joined on the couch by Erin Singleton. She's not into bird watching, but she's seen a cockatoo.
This is Louise, an arsehole.
She's seen a cockatoo.
This is Louise, an arsehole.
You're not to swear in the first minute.
Oh, sorry. Arsehole's not a swear word.
Okay, if you can't
Anatomically correct.
if you can't say it in the classroom.
Oh, this is Louis. Unfortunately, he's my boyfriend.
Unfortunately for who?
Me.
Erin Singleton.
This is Louis, he's an arsehole.
You're not to swear in the first minute.
Oh, sorry. Arsehole's not a swear word.
Okay, if you can't
Anatomically correct.
if you can't say it in the classroom.
Oh, this is Louis. Unfortunately, he's my anyway. Boyfriend.
Unfortunately for who?
Me. And I joke.
I joke, I laugh, I kid.
I wouldn't have said that if you hadn't have said that joke.
What would you have said if So last Tuesday if I hadn't said that.
This is Louis.
Young for extraordinaire
Anyway.
and all them things. So last Tuesday young for extraordinaire. Young for extraordinaire
Anyway.
and all them. So last Tuesday, Erin and I went to the theatre.
The Dunamaze Arts Centre in Portlaoise.
Because we're dead cultured.
Yeah, and the Dunamaze is very good. Please go.
The scene of our first date.
Yeah.
Some might say. But
Well, everyone would say that because that's where we went on our first date.
everyone So last Tuesday, Erin and I went to the theatre.
The Dunamaze Arts Centre in Portlaoise.
Because we're dead cultured.
Yeah, and the Dunamaze is very good. Please go.
The scene of our first date.
Yeah.
Some might say. But
Well, everyone would say that because that's where we went on our first date.
everyone counting that.
Dinner beforehand.
I was saying that time in Abbey Leaks.
No, that's not dinner.
We went to the Dunamaze Art Theatre to see, I wouldn't call it a play, stage performance?
A stage performance, yeah.
Stage performance of Paddy Cullivan's I Can't Believe It's Not Ireland.
Louis had previously gone to one of his shows last month.
The Death of Michael Collins. Very good.
Was it last month?
Probably, I think so.
I didn't go to that one.
You were off. You were in for
Yeah.
We've probably seen you in for
Oh, Louis knows Paddy. He's a family friend, isn't he?
When my dad taught him in England, and then Paddy went. When my dad taught him in England, when my dad taught him.
Chaptishtak egg, Kildara, the Lua. Shaka and Varna the Woodhull. Grandma will a spot tash till the here no there.
When my dad taught him in England, and then Paddy went on.
No, for anyone that doesn't.
And then.
We will shortly be arriving at Kildare. Please mind the gap. Thank you for travelling with Here No There.
Paddy went on.
No, No, for anyone that doesn't, I know, don't call it NCAS, then CAD.
National College of Alcohol and Drugs. Paddy went on. Paddy went on to perform in the house band for the Late Late for many years, and now he does his own private gigs. He does his own. Now he does his own private gigs, weddings.
His band, I can't remember the name of them.
Camber.
The name of them. Can't remember the name of them.
Camber Quartet.
Yeah, tell the camera.
The Camber Quartet. Go to www.paddygoodwin.com. This is just like.
This is a sponsor post for Paddy.
Is that right, Paddy? Happy with that? So. So, first segment, plot in 60 seconds.
You're
Kildara, Kildare.
So, first segment, plot in 60 seconds.
You're gonna have to.
Camber. So, first segment, airport. Private gigs, weddings.
His band, I can't remember the name of them.
Camber Quartet.
His band, I can't remember the name of them.
Camber Quartet.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do it because I can't, and I can't do a timer timer on.
But you can. But you can.
The second timer on.
Is that counting out?
Yeah.
Well, when it gets to 7, they could just do it now.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper,
Do it now.
rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper, paper, scissors. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ah!
You go first. Oh, put on 6 seconds. I'm not smart enough to do
The
this.
look of panic in your eyes.
I know. Put on 6 seconds, go. Put on 6 seconds, go.
Let me the chapter stock egg. Honest to Ravi, the Lua. Shocking and Varna, the Buddha. But I'm not with a spots tash till the here no there. We will shortly be arriving at Monastravan. Please mind the gap. Thank you for travelling with Urinal Air.
Year is 20. Camembert Court.
I'm not smart enough to do this.
The look of panic in your eyes.
I know.
Okay, so
You'll have to wait. Sorry for people at home. It's quite boring.
can I say a second time? Possibly. Okay.
9, 8, 7, 6. Plan 60 seconds, go.
The year is
Plan 60 seconds, go.
the year is 2032. Ireland have the year is 2032. Ireland have voted to combine the North and the South 2 years previous in a referendum. Paddy Cullivan is giving us a stage show. The first half of the show, he talks about the history of why we're divided and why we should be united as a united Ireland. That is the first hour, maybe hour and a bit,
Yeah.
of the show.
You're right.
Halfway there. Then there's a 15-minute interval. And then for the second half of the show, Paddy thrashes out all the finer details and keeps us updated as to how Ireland is such a prosperous country when we unite and we focus on what we have in common and stop focusing on the minor differences.
Oh, 10 seconds to spare.
Would you say that was good?
I thought it was quite good, yeah.
Yeah, do that one.
I was
Pretty
happy
good.
with that, yeah. That I would
And
definitely
then
wouldn't
for
have been
the
able to do
second
that.
half, I think Paddy thrashes out all the finer details. You should try one.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, so Paddy starts the show by showing us what Ireland could be if the North and South came together. He then goes on to the history of Ireland and how everyone's connected. Let's connect together. Let's be. Then goes on to the history of Ireland and how everyone's shouting about let's do a connection. Let's connect together. Let's be getting 6 counties back. But how we're actually not prepared for getting 6 counties back, and how we actually have a lot more in common with people in the north than people in the south. People in the south, he's saying, are begrudging of the people of the north. They don't want to give up anything, and really, if we want people to join us, that we should be able to compromise on things. So it's really the south's fault that we don't have 6 counties rather than the north's fault. So then now we have a 15-minute interval, and then he goes on to show what he believes could be a solution to the problems that we have. He goes through what our national anthem could be, a flag, and how we could actually join together and be peaceful as one, as a new state rather than the state of Ireland. Why?
I think you did a better version than me.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, it's calm, cool, and collected, like a cucumber. I realised going into this though that like I actually knew nothing about Ireland. I'm like, I'm fucked. I was like, I actually have no idea about any of this stuff.
But Paddy is amazing. Like the level of research he does. But
I don't know how he has the time.
well, he says how he has the time. Lockdown, baby. He wrote only 4 shows in lockdown.
Still, I'm like, yeah, he was very productive with lockdown time.
Yeah, I think he was obviously very obsessive as well. But just the level of research and the level of detail, but then to retain it and then to sculpt it into like an entertaining show that it
Yeah.
wasn't just like a history lesson.
Yes, and then as well, like he kind of gets you to look at it as a different way than you're probably used to looking at. Like that whole thing about like, you know, it's actually the reason the North aren't like amalgamated with the South is because the South like have the big problem. It's like God, I've never thought about it like that. He's like,
Yeah.
people just have an empty thing of get the 6 counties back and blah blah. Never thought. People just have an empty thing of get the 6 counties back and blah blah. He said, but what are we actually offering them? He's like, why would they want to join? And I was like, I've actually never thought of it like that.
And
He's so intelligent.
but and all the research he does, like he finds the surveys that have been run, and it said just comparing everything. We basically want to take everything but won't compromise on it. Won't meet them halfway at all.
Yeah.
They basically want to
Let me check the
absolve
stock egg.
Northern
Cool
Ireland
on to
into
the
the Republic, and then they just
Shocking
become
environment
close
of the
Yeah.
instead of
But I'm
just
not
going,
with a
oh, we can always
subtash
win
here,
and
no
lose.
there.
And we don't maybe recognise what they could offer us.
Hugely.
But also, yeah, the big thing everyone's like, who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for
Shortly
that?
be arriving at Port Arlington.
But
Please,
he said it
mind
even
the
he
gap.
said it in
Thank you for travelling with your there.
money shouldn't be in this conversation.
Yeah.
It should be about patriotism,
Yeah.
about rejoining your country,
Mm-hmm.
your fellow countrymen.
Yeah.
But he said it even we said it not his biggest fan, but Leo Varadkar said money shouldn't be in this conversation.
Yeah.
It should be about patriotism,
Yeah.
about rejoining your country,
Mm-hmm.
your fellow. Your fellow countrymen.
Yeah.
And I like the story. Well, it was based on a real story. When he went up north and he had a taxi man, black cab taxi driver, Ken Dodd the Prod,
Yeah.
and he said it was Paddy's first time to go to Northern Ireland, and Ken Dodd proudly said, "Well, I've never been to the Republic." And then we catch up with Ken Dodd in the year 2032 when he comes down to the Republic, and it just pointed out all the like everything in Dublin has the Royal College Theatre,
Yeah.
the Royal Hibernian.
Yeah.
We're just obsessed. Well,
Irish people are obsessed with the royal family, and they're obsessed with being under people, under someone. They have to be under.
slave mentality.
Yeah, that's what you said, slave mentality. You said that before when we saw the show, and then it was big about that, like that we have to be under. Yeah.
The Royal Hibernian. It just pointed out all the like. The Royal College Theatre,
Yeah.
the Royal Hibernian.
Yeah.
We're just obsessed. Well,
Irish people are obsessed with the royal family, and they're obsessed with being under people, under someone. They have to be under.
slave mentality.
Yeah, that's what you said, slave mentality. You said that before when we saw the show, and then it was big about that, like that we have to be under. We don't know what to do if we had freedom. Like we actually won't know what to do. Like, well, we do. We just swapped like the English rule for the rule. We don't know what to do if we had freedom. Like we actually won't know what to. Don't know what to do. Like, well, we do. We just swapped like the English rule for the rule of the banks and the rule of.
Well, with the Vikings, then the Brits,
Yeah.
800 years, lest we forget. Then we had independence for a wet week. We handed over to the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So I was like, how did priests go from on the run, have say mass in ditches, to then being in charge? With the Vikings,
The rule of the banks and the rule of.
well, with the Vikings, over to the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So I was like, how did priests go from on the run, have say mass in ditches, to then being in charge of the country?
Yeah.
And I heard someone saying that like we were afraid to have our own independence, to be in charge of ourselves,
Yeah.
and the Catholic Church were only happy to take control
Oh,
of it.
God, yeah.
They were like, yeah, of course we'll take over. So then in the last few years we've kind of give them the boot,
Yeah.
and now we handed it all over to the banks, and we're paying for picking
Well,
Yeah.
it's all part of the conversation. You're all there.
slave mentality, the Irish,
Yeah.
afraid of our own freedom. And you have to do a job you hate all your life, and then retire, live for 3 years and die. And that's the Irish way, and have as many kids as you can.
Yeah. Not so much anymore.
that's the Irish way, and have as many kids as you can.
Yeah. Not so much anymore, I wouldn't say though. But anyway.
Yeah, how did I get onto that? So Ken Dodd Broad. Yeah, and like Paddy said, I find that like people are obsessed with the ref.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't name them.
I could.
Obsessed with get onto that. So Ken Dodd Broad. Yeah, and like Paddy said, I find that like people are obsessed with the ref.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't name them.
I could.
I could. I don't know who they all are.
Yeah. But not all of them.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Why? Who's the good-looking one that everyone says the ginger fella?
Harry.
That's Harry.
Yeah.
Who's his brother?
William.
Yeah.
William's married to Kate.
Who's his brother?
William.
Yeah.
William's married to Kate. William's married. William's married to Kate. Married. A lot of people in the north. A lot of people in the north do want to
No.
join.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do want to join into Ireland. And like say that in the show we went to see, Paddy made a very good point of that. Like, you know, people in the north, they kind of, some of them feel like they don't belong to Britain, but they don't belong to Ireland either. So they're in this kind of in between.
Yeah.
You know, like they have pounds and stuff, but completely different pounds. So they have it. They're in this kind of in, but they don't belong. People in the north, they kind of, some of them feel like they don't belong to Britain, but they don't belong to Ireland either. So they're in this kind of in between.
Yeah.
You know, like they have pounds and stuff, but completely different pounds that they have in England. And a lot of it kind of stemmed from, well, it kind of stemmed from not really religion. It kind of just, Ireland used to be.
Well, I think they used religion as an excuse to pin us against each other.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid that we'd
Yeah.
corroborate.
So like back in the day, obviously Ireland is a predominantly Catholic country, but then as the show went,